All right. Welcome and thank you for joining. My name is Ashley Lusick, and I am a health educator for community health at Atlantic Health System. Today's webinar, Vegetarian and Vegan Nutrition, is presented by Evelyn Manolfo, registered dietitian nutritionist from ShopRite of West Caldwell and Parsippany. Before we begin, I have a few announcements. This webinar is being recorded. All participants are muted. If you have a question, please use the Q&A for questions or chat for comments. We will try and get through all questions at the end of today's presentation. Are you or a loved one interested in smoking cessation? Atlantic Health System offers a free quit smoking program. This program includes an individual assessment, free nicotine replacement products, and 6 weekly group meetings to help you quit and stay smoke-free. There are multiple dates and times available, with groups available in person or virtually. For more information about these groups and other resources, or for additional dates and times, please call 1-844-472-8499.
We go. So welcome to the vegetarian and vegan nutrition presentation. Today you're going to learn about what vegetarian and vegan diets are, the key differences between the two, vegetarian and vegan diets, and the essential nutrients needed while on a plant-based diet, and how to obtain balanced nutrition for both vegan and vegetarian diets. And then, of course, you're going to learn about shopping, menu planning, and resource tips that can assist you with plant-based eating. Okay, so what are the types of vegetarian and vegan diets? Well, let's start with vegan, right? So vegan are just plant foods only, no animal or animal-derived foods. There's also another version of vegan called a raw vegan diet, and that consists of raw vegan foods only, vegan foods that have not been heated over 115 degrees Fahrenheit. Then there is the lacto-vegetarian, and that's plant foods only, no meat, but includes dairy. Then there's the lacto-ovo-vegetarian, plant foods, no meat, but includes dairy and eggs only. And then pescatarian, which is plant foods, no meat, again, but includes seafood as well as optional dairy and eggs. All right. Okay, so let's talk about what's this about plant foods and why are they so good for us? And why is there so much of this plant forward eating that we keep hearing about? Well, there's a good reason for that. That's because plant foods are nature's medicine. There is antioxidants in plant foods, which are very powerful immune supporting and anti-inflammatory food. So in other words, brings the inflammation down in our body, right? So like we said, many antioxidants are found in plant foods. So look at this picture here. What do you see? You see a rainbow of color. There's green, there's yellow, there's orange, there's red, there's blue, there's purple, there's white. Every color of the rainbow, we tell the kids, eat a rainbow every day to remind them to try to eat a lot of plants. Again, each color contains a different antioxidant, a different phytochemical, nature's medicine. So why is this nature's medicine? Well, these antioxidants, Mother Nature put these antioxidants into the plant foods to protect the plants from disease, viruses, and radiation. So what happens when we eat these plants, when we ingest these plants? Well, we're also ingesting these powerful antioxidants, which are going to keep us healthier. So some of these types of antioxidants are vitamins C and E in plant foods, minerals like zinc and selenium, and phytochemicals. Some of you may have heard of some of them, like carotenoids. We've all heard of carotenoids, polyphenols, lignans, and phenolic acids, just to name a few. Okay, so let's talk about balanced nutrition. I always like to talk about balanced nutrition before we really launch into our webinar, just so you understand what balanced nutrition is and how you can apply these concepts into eating balanced. So here is a healthy eating plate. This is from the Harvard School of Public Medicine that you can see here on the left, your plate, my plate. So on the left of your plate, you can see that third of the half of the plate, I'm sorry, 2/3 of the half of the plate is supposed to be vegetables, right? So it's supposed to be the majority of that half of the plate. And then a third is fruit. And then on the other half, we have healthy protein. So, of course, if we're vegetarian and vegan, those healthy protein sources are going to be plant sources, non-meat sources. And then the other part is whole grains. So, and we tell everybody, try to make your most of your grains whole grains. Whole grains, it's the whole grain, so it hasn't been stripped. The fiber hasn't been stripped. Um, well, everything is intact. The minerals, the vitamins, the fiber, the polyphenols are all in there. So when we eat white processed grains, that's all been stripped. It's not there anymore. We want to try to do whole grains whenever possible, and we'll talk more about whole grains. Okay, so you can see here the plate. Drink plenty of water, and then some healthy oils, as opposed to saturated fats. We want to have healthy fats. So on the right is a vegan plate. So if you look on the vegan plate here, again, you can see half of that plate is vegetables and fruit, just like the plate to the left. And then to the right, we have our grains. And then for our plant proteins here, we have our nuts, seeds, and legumes. And then towards the center, we have our calcium-rich foods here. So like beans, seeds, tofu, soy milk. And then you'll see to the right of the vegan plate are supplementation, because when we're not eating animal foods, we will be deficient in vitamin B12. That's where we get our B12 from, the animal foods. And then there's vitamin D. Vitamin D is found in dairy, but we're all actually tend to be deficient in vitamin D. Why? Because that's the sunshine vitamin. And we're not out in the sun all the time. So I do always promote getting out in the sun without sunscreen for maybe just 10 to 15 minutes on most days, just so your skin can absorb the sun. When the sun hits our skin, it actually manufactures vitamin D. For sunscreen, just try to get a few minutes on most days without it initially, just so you can get your vitamin D. And I do always recommend vitamin D supplementation for everybody, whether they're vegan or not. Okay, so let's start with a vegan diet, veganism. So that's the strictest form of vegetarianism. In addition to limiting meat, vegans refrain from eating all animal products and byproducts, right? So that includes no meat, cheese, dairy, eggs, even honey, because that's made by bees. Individuals may decide to go vegan for health reasons, obviously, while others too feel it's morally wrong to consume animal products. And also, it is believed that there are environmental benefits to following a vegan diet, right? That could be a whole nother PowerPoint presentation, but going to go back to veganism. So other types of veganism, vegan, is a raw vegan. So a raw vegan, that consists of only raw vegan foods that have not been heated over 115 degrees Fahrenheit. So a raw vegan diet is fairly limiting, and that would be kind of hard to stick to long term. Okay, so your health, the vegetarian and vegan diet, and essential nutrients. So, when carefully planned and executed, a vegan and vegetarian diet can be very healthy for some of the reasons that we stated before. However, going vegan may not always be a good idea for everyone. Studies show that vegans may be at a higher risk for some nutritional deficiencies, like we said, right? If you're not eating the animal foods, you may not be getting your vitamin B12 along with some other nutrients. So you have to watch that, be aware of that. Studies, like we said, studies show that vegans may be at a higher risk for some nutritional deficiencies, especially now those consuming a lot of processed foods or struggling with other health conditions that may interfere with nutrient absorption. You want to watch that. You want to get your annual checkups with your doctor, make sure everything is good, and you can easily have supplementation if you need it. So let's talk about some of the essential nutrients that are important to watch out for when you're a vegan or certain types of vegetarian. So some vegans and some vegetarians, depending on what type, need to monitor their essential nutrient intake of vitamin B12, vitamin D, calcium, iron, iodine, zinc, and omega-3 fatty acids very carefully. Taking a multivitamin is a good option to help round out diet and protect against nutritional deficiencies. So when you're on a plant-based diet, vegan, vegetarian, what are you supposed to eat? Well, luckily there's lots and lots of great foods you can have. There's vegetables, there's fruits of any kind, nuts and nut butters, seeds. There's so many seeds, right? There's chia, there's hemp, there's flax, there's poppy, to name a few. Um, Plant protein foods like tofu, tempeh, natto, nutritional yeast, all the legumes and beans. There's lots of those. Whole grains like oats, barley, buckwheat, quinoa, couscous, brown rice, corn, etc. Grains, healthy fats like olives, avocados, unrefined vegetable oils, plant-based milks. There's so many plant-based milks today in the store, right? To name a few, there's almond milk, oat milk, soy milk, cashew milk. Herbs and spices are great. Herbs and spices think of them as like mini vegetables that have extra antioxidants in them. So enjoy them, use them. There's so many, right? Black pepper, cumin, turmeric, ginger, garlic. There's all kinds of new spice mixtures that you see out there at the supermarket now. Okay, so what not to eat on your vegan diet and on some vegetarian diets? Well, for both, no meat at all, right? No meat, no poultry. Now, seafood, only if you're pescatarian, right? No dairy products only if you're a lacto or lacto-ovo vegetarian. Same with the eggs and honey. So if you're vegan, no meat, no poultry, no seafood, no dairy, no eggs, no honey, right? Animal-based ingredients. So some products that you may find, or even vitamins and supplementations, you may find gelatin in there. So if you're vegan, you would want to find supplements without the gelatin. Some ingredients that you would buy in a package at the supermarket could contain lard, gelatin, casein, carmine. Carmine actually is a red dye that's animal derived. So when you're a vegan, you have to be really careful to avoid these, right? So for the vegetarians, obviously you can have dairy. For the ovo-lacto, you can have eggs and dairy. And again, like we said, pescatarians, you can have seafood, and eggs and dairy are optional. All right, so let's talk about balanced nutrition on the vegetarian vegan diet. Very important, right? So now legumes and grains, they're really, really good for us. The whole grains. However, they do contain compounds called anti-nutrients, which can bind to the minerals in our body and block their absorption. So we just want to be mindful of that, and ways that you can reduce the anti-nutrients is by soaking, sprouting, and cooking your grains and legumes. So that will reduce the content of the anti-nutrients. So that will maximize your nutrient absorption. So be aware of that. Okay, so I'm sure you all know already, even though some foods are called vegan, not necessarily the healthy foods, but the unhealthy foods can be vegan too. So like candy, fast foods, chips, soft drinks, right? They're technically vegan, but are they healthy? No, because they're full of added sugar, preservatives, artificial flavors, and artificial dyes. And we probably all know, especially the young people, it could be trendy, and are they doing healthy vegan all the time? Not really. Some of them are eating these unhealthy foods. So in that case, a vegan diet or a vegetarian diet, it wouldn't be so healthy, right? So you can see here the diagram to the right. an unhealthy vegan versus a healthy vegan, right? So on the healthy vegan side, lots of beautiful rainbow colored fruits and vegetables and plant foods versus the processed fast food, unhealthy food. So you want to do a healthy vegan and vegetarian diet. Okay, so again, going back to essential nutrients and sources for vegans and some vegetarians. Let's start with calcium, right? So we all know calcium is from dairy, right? Milk and dairy foods. And why is calcium important? It's super important for strong bones and teeth. We also need it for our metabolism, our body systems. So we know milk and dairy are the highest in calcium. So if you are an ovo-lacto vegetarian, you're getting that. So you're good. Um, if you're a vegan, dark green vegetables are good plant sources, but you have to eat a lot of them to get the calcium. So examples of dark green veggies that are good sources of the calcium include turnip and collard greens, kale and broccoli. Other options include calcium-enriched and fortified products, like, the orange juice, we know they have that out there that's calcium fortified. There's cereals, plant milks, plant yogurt, and tofu. A lot of them, most of them are fortified with calcium, and you can check on the label for that as well. Vitamin D. So we know vitamin D is that added to cow's milk and also some plant milks, cereals, and margarines. Vitamin D supplements are recommended, and we've talked about that before. Everybody, as far as I'm concerned, should be on a vitamin D supplement. And you can find, if you're vegan, plant-derived vitamin D supplements. You may have to ask your doctor for that or go online. A lot of the supermarkets don't have plant-derived vitamins, so check the label. And again, like we said, be sure to check your food labels for calcium and vitamin D. It will be on the food label. And here's some of the sources of calcium that we talked about: the leafy green vegetables, some seeds, soy, tofu. There's almonds. There's actually lots of plant foods that contain calcium. So you want to make sure you're getting those. Okay, B12 and omega-3 fats. So vitamin B12, like we said, is found almost exclusively in animal products, animal foods, and that is difficult to get enough B12 on a vegan diet. That's actually, it's recommended B12 supplementation for vegans, and those of you who are vegan probably know that. For this reason, like we said, really important to do vitamin B12 supplements. Vegan sources can include enriched cereals, fortified soy products, and actually nutritional yeast is a good source of vitamin B12. And I know vegans who love it. It's got the umami, they call it the umami flavor, not meat, but like and mushrooms have that as well. But you're getting that rich taste, even though it's not meat of meat. And people love nutritional yeast for that reason. And also, they say that it's actually good. If you sprinkle on popcorn, it tastes like Parmesan cheese. So that's good vitamin B12. You can use that. Omega-3 fats. So that's found in fish. Plant sources are canola oil, soy oil, walnuts, hemp seeds, and ground flax seeds, soybeans, and algae-based supplements. So there's a lot of plant-based omega-3s too. Vegans, vegetarians who do not eat fish or include sources omega-3s in their diet may consider adding fortified omega-3 products to their diet. Omega-3 is an essential fat because our bodies don't make it and we need it. Omega-3 is really important. It's actually an anti-inflammatory. It brings down the inflammation in our body, and it's good for our brain and eye health. So make sure you're not lacking in that. Okay, and the last three essential nutrients, we've got iron, zinc, and iodine. So iron is really important for red blood cells. Dried beans, peas, lentils, enriched cereals, whole grain products, dark green leafy vegetables, and dried fruit are sources of iron. So lots of plant food sources there. Now, the thing is about iron, there's two kinds of iron. There's heme iron and non-heme iron. So when we're plant-based, when we're vegan vegetarians and we're not eating meat, we're getting our plant-based iron sources, it's called non-heme. Unfortunately, non-heme is not um, processed in our body as efficiently as the meat source of iron, which is heme iron. Heme iron is processed more efficiently in our body. So there's a trick here that I'm going to tell you about to help you process your iron more easily in your body. And that's to combine your plant-based iron food sources with vitamin C food. So example, let's see here, to help bodies absorb iron from plants, eat foods rich in vitamin C at the same time as eating iron containing foods. It's going to help your body absorb the iron better, the vitamin C foods. So, vitamin C rich foods include bell peppers, strawberries, citrus fruits, tomatoes, cabbage, and broccoli. So, remember that. And then zinc. So, zinc is very, very important mineral as well. So, like iron, zinc is not as easily absorbed from plant sources. Seafood is a source of zinc for pescatarians. So if you're a pescatarian, you're good with that. And cheese and yogurt are sources of zinc if you eat dairy. Plant sources of zinc include whole grains, soy, lentils, beans, nuts, and wheat germ. Zinc helps the body make proteins and grows cells. So really, really important. Research on zinc has found that it supports the immune system and vision. So you can see why it's so important to follow a healthy vegan and vegetarian diet. If you're not, you're going to be missing these important essential nutrients. And then last is iodine. So that's a mineral. It's actually, it helps our thyroid hormones. Our hormones are partly made of iodine and can be obtained by using iodized salt. So if you do sea salt, make sure you're getting the sea salt with the iodine because some sea salts don't contain iodine and we need iodine. Very important for our thyroid health. So seafood and dairy are also sources of iodine. People who do not eat seafood or dairy may be at risk for iodine deficiency. Iodine deficiency can lead to the thyroid getting bigger as it tries to meet the body's needs, and this is called goiter when our thyroid is getting bigger because we are deficient in iodine. Um, Seaweed actually is a good vegetarian source of iodine, so eat that seaweed. It's good for your thyroid. Okay, so let's talk about the power of fiber from whole plant foods. So important, we are actually primates, right? And what do primates eat? Plants, and they're very powerful animals. Well, we're supposed to be eating mostly plants. So let's go into the mechanisms why the fiber in plants are so important for us and what it does in our body. The whole plant foods, um, produce, whole grain, seeds, and nuts contain sources of fiber and antioxidants. You guys know that, right? So fiber in whole plant foods breaks down in the gut to nutrients actually that feed and sustain our healthy intestinal flora. So, in other words, when we're eating these plants, the fiber and the plant foods are breaking down in our gut, and it's to form what we call prebiotics. Prebiotics are foods that feed the healthy flora in our gut. So, the healthy flora in our gut is our first line of defense, super important to our immunity. When we were newborns, we had billions of colonies of bacteria in our gut to kill off any germs, infections, bacteria. But what happens as we got older, we got sick, we had to go on antibiotics. The antibiotics can destroy colonies of healthy bacteria in our gut. An unhealthy diet can do it. So fiber is key for that. Fiber will build up your healthy flora in your gut. When you have a healthy gut, that's called the healthy biome. Have a healthy biome that's been linked to everything, a key to our health, our moods, um, how we fight infection, how we fight the disease, so many things. So that's why it's so important to eat a lot of plant foods. Okay, fiber also, to add to that, fiber also binds with cholesterol particles in the digestive system and moves it out of the body, right? Which can also lower cholesterol. So when I had done the Mediterranean diet presentation for Atlantic Health, I had found this chart and I just thought it was fascinating. Mediterranean is also super good. It's mostly plants as well, which is why it's so good for us. And you can see that a high fiber, whole natural foods um, will actually decrease decrease disease and well and it will increase microbiota symbiosis. So it's just it's a win-win. So benefits of whole food plant-based diets. So So not only is it making your gut healthier, your immunity stronger, and helping to lower your cholesterol, it also is good to help you get to a healthier weight. So whole fiber foods are more filling and tend to have less calories than low or no fiber foods, which is a factor to why eating this way can promote weight loss. In turn, it can decrease metabolic syndrome, hypertension, and help prevent heart attacks, strokes, type 2 diabetes, and premature death. So that's pretty powerful. Antioxidants in these foods can also benefit brain and eye health and can protect against cognitive decline as we age. So that this is like a win-win. Plant-based eating, vegan, vegetarian, even a Mediterranean diet are recommended by MDs to improve health and protect against inflammation and chronic disease. So I know a big concern when we're eating mostly plants is, are we getting enough protein? Now, the fact is, in this country, most people are getting more than enough protein. That's not a problem in this country because we have such an abundance of food available. Even if you're a vegan and a vegetarian, you can still get enough protein, and I'll tell you why. So you can combine plant foods for complete protein, known as a complementary protein, because each plant food contains the different amino acids that can make a complete protein. So back in school, if you guys remember, back in Science 101, I don't know if some of you remember, the building blocks proteins are amino acids, right? And I think there was like 24 amino acids. And anyway, if you're eating all day long, whole grains, beans, nuts, seeds, you're still getting your complete protein because these are forming complementary proteins in your body. Or if you're just even combining them in a bowl, like here in this picture, you've got seeds, you've got nuts, you've got beans, you've got whole grains, vegetables. It's got all the different amino acids, and they're going to combine together to get you a complementary protein, which is just as much protein as meat. So you should be good. You don't have to worry about that. Okay. Now there are actually some plant foods that are complete proteins. And then like soy, for example, soy contains all the essential amino acids. It's also a good source of healthy fats, and we know phytochemicals. Hemp seed, chia seed, and whole grains like amaranth and quinoa are also complete protein. So you're going to be getting lots of complete protein. You don't have to worry about it. Using any of these foods, along with combining other plant protein sources, should get you all of the essential amino acids and complete protein needs met. So let's just look at the label. I always like to have a label when I do these presentations because it's such a powerful tool for you to use to know exactly what you're getting and what you're going to be eating. So here's the label, the nutrition facts label here. So you can just get a look at it. Let's move here. Okay, so you can see here on the label, any package you buy is going to tell you the amount of servings in that package. So if you have a small package of something, maybe 1 or 2 servings, you have a big package of something, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 servings in the package. So here, for whatever this food is in this package, there's 8 servings of food. in this container, and I'll even tell you the serving size for each serving. So in this case, it's 2/3 cup. That's the serving size. So for 2/3 cup, it's 230 calories. I'll tell you the total fat. We always say it's the saturated fat you want to watch. And in this case, it's only 1 gram. It's low. The sodium is 160 milligrams. The fiber is 4 grams. The total sugar is 12 grams. And then down here, remember we were talking about looking at the label for your vitamin D and calcium. And here it's all here. It tells you the vitamin D, the calcium, the iron, the potassium. So just a quick tip here. If you can see on the right side of the label where it says percent daily value, the percent daily value will tell you if something is a high or a low source. So a low source of an ingredient is 5% or lower. A high source would be 20% or higher. So let's look here under saturated fat 1 gram. We see 5% on the right-hand column of percent daily value. So that's a low source of saturated fat, which is good. What else? So if we look under total sugars, which includes 10 grams of added sugars, if we look on the right side next to it, that's 20% of the daily value. So that's a high source of sugar. If we go below that, calcium is 20%. So that's a high source of calcium. You go even below that, iron is 45%. So that's a high source of iron. So, it's fun. It's interesting when we're shopping and we're looking at the labels and we're getting all this information. Nothing is black and white, So in other words, if you want to get a food and it's filling your nutritional requirements, but it's a little high in sugar. So what are you going to do? You want to get it, so you get it, and you just make sure that you're eating a little lower in sugar for the rest of the day. Things like that. You just have to keep it in balance and don't drive yourself crazy. But knowledge is power, and this is really a powerful tool. Okay. So menu planning. So now that you have all this information about eating as a vegan or a vegetarian, and you're like, okay, this is great. So where do I start? Well, the best place to start is by stocking your pantry, right? Stocking your pantry, it just makes it easier to prepare healthier, balanced meals and snacks. You'll have less trips to the grocery store. It'll speed up your meal prep. It'll increase your variety of meal availability, and it will create less impulse to get fast food and order takeout. So let's see here. Well, of course, we're going to start with fruits and vegetables, right, for our pantry. So the pantry includes any shelf-stable or foods in your cupboard, your refrigerator, and your freezer. Those are all considered pantry foods. So, fill it up with produce, vegetables, fruit. Frozen is fine. Fresh is fine. Canned is fine. So you can see here. Keep those fruits and veggies available. You can easily use them in your breakfast foods and your cereal, your oatmeal as a snack for lunches and dinners. Okay, whole grains, great item for your pantry, right? Like, for example, oatmeal, steel cut oats, instant oatmeal, whatever oatmeal you like. Well, your whole grain cereals, your pastas, they have whole grain pastas now. They even have bean pastas, which are great for vegan and vegetarian. They have lots of whole grain flours and baking mixes, and there's whole grain breads and crackers and grains. Grains like brown rice, wild rice, barley, quinoa, buckwheat, and bulgur, to name a few. You want to keep your sauces in there too, so you can put some tasty meals together, like tomato sauce, tomato paste, soy sauce. Okay, there's beans and legumes, very important in the pantry. We've got dry beans and canned beans. They're great for salads, soups, and sides. They are high fiber. They have plant protein, vitamins, and minerals, so they're a win-win. And as you can see, you can do so much with beans. You can make soups and stews and salads and side dishes. And of course, there's nuts, nut butters, and seeds. They're good for you. They're heart healthy. They are higher in fat, but the healthy fat, the monounsaturated fat. So if you are watching your weight, be mindful of the portions. One or two handfuls, we say, of nuts are good. And again, these foods are plant protein. They're high in the healthy monounsaturated fats. And again, they're great for snacks, salads, and sandwiches. Let's talk about some more pantry stable jarred veggies like olives, capers, um, roasted peppers, sun-dried tomatoes, artichokes, all delicious, all great, all shelf stable. You can add them to your salads, your side dishes, your entrees, your pasta. They're so good. Add so much color and flavor. And then for the pescatarian in the group, we've got canned seafood, tuna, sardines, anchovies. They're high in omega-3s and lean protein. Okay, so more foods like protein foods you want to keep in your pantry. So, depending on what kind of vegan or vegetarian you are, for our lacto-ovo, we have eggs. For our pescatarian, seafood. For our vegans, all your soy products and your tofus and your vegan plant proteins like seitan, um, tempeh. Tempeh is a great one. There's you keep your broths, your stocks, your cooking sprays, your oils, and your soft margarine. And then batch cook. I'm sure you've all done that. You can do batch cooking, make a big pot of something, whether it's chili or soup or stew or casserole, make some for now and then freeze the rest for another day. And then last but not least, are herbs and spices, very, very important. It can transform any dish into something special. It revs up your flavors and can give you lots of different cuisine options. Spices, fresh and dried herbs, garlic powder, onion powder, seasoning blend herbs like Provence, Middle Eastern, za'atar, and then our sauces, soy sauce, teriyaki, ponzu. There's extracts, peppermint, citrus, and vanilla. And then lots of meal prep options for our veggies, right? You can keep them frozen. You can steam them or cook them or microwave them. You can roast vegetables. They're so good. You could do sheet pan meals with your roasted vegetables and your veggie protein of choice or your fish. And then, of course, now we're at summertime. Hooray, you can grill your vegetables. Now, I'm sure all of you have heard about, the bowls, the Buddha bowls, or they're so easy to do. So some easy meal bowl options, some breakfast ideas. You have your cereal with your different fruits, and your plant-based yogurt. To the right, we have one with leftover. Maybe you made a whole bunch of roasted vegetables, and you can put your roasted vegetables and your grains and your avocado and for your lacto vegetarians, you can do your eggs, your dairy, right? So you can do so much for your bowl for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Lunch and dinner are very popular as well. And I love this chart. I use this chart in almost all my webinars because it's something everybody can do. So for your veggies, of course, you can do any vegetable you want, avocado, your green leafy, your cauliflower, your salad, your summer squash, anything that's in season, your grains, any whole grain, cooked brown rice, bulgur, farro, millet, quinoa, rice, cauliflower rice, that's big now. Love cauliflower rice. Your protein. So obviously you would do a vegan protein, right? This was like an omnivore's chart here, but you would just your tofu, your tempeh, or your soy. Any extras, whatever you want, sprouts, seeds, raisins, olives, nuts, herbs, fruit, dried fruit, cheese. They even have vegan cheeses. And then your dressing sauce, really important because that just kind of revs up all the flavors. Any dressing or sauce you want, vinaigrette, tahini, sesame, hummus, Greek, goddess, creamy, balsamic. Right, and then there's overnight, always good old overnight oats. So the night before, combine half cup of any plant-based milk of choice or a milk of choice, a third cup of rolled oats, half a mashed banana, quarter cup of chopped nuts, sprinkle of cinnamon, seal it in your Tupperware. Keep it overnight in the fridge. By morning, you'll have delicious overnight oats. They can be heated, the microwave for a minute. You can enjoy warm or cold. You can top with fruit and a plant-based yogurt or whatever yogurt you like. So what are the key takeaways of this presentation? When done right, there are so many benefits of a vegan and vegetarian diet, which can include healthy weight management, heart health, reduced risk of metabolic syndrome, high antioxidant intake, and improved gut and eye health, right? So there's so many benefits. But please note you must do it carefully because vegan diets, if not done right, may be linked to an increased risk of nutritional deficiency. As we know, some plant-based foods contain anti-nutrients, which can interfere with micronutrient absorption. So make sure when you're following your vegetarian vegan diets, listen to your body. Make sure you get regular checkups with your doctor and eat a well-balanced, nutritious meals and snacks that are mostly whole and unprocessed. These were some of the resources. You guys are going to get a little copy of this presentation, so you'll be able to use these resources if you'd like. I love Old Ways, they're great. Uh, Harvard Health is great. There's an RD, Brenda Davis. The Mayo Clinic is great. And then this USA Pulses are just some easy recipe ideas with beans and legumes. All right, so that is it. Thank you so much for your focus and attention on this presentation. I know there was a lot of information. I am available in the ShopRites of Parsippany and West Caldwell. We have free services for you. You can call me at my number or at my email.
So I would like to say thank you everyone for joining. We kindly ask that you take a few minutes after today's webinar to complete the program survey. The link to the survey has been added to the chat for your convenience. A special thank you to Evelyn for dedicating your time and expertise today. If you have any additional questions or comments, you can send an email to communityhealth@atlantichealth.org or call 1-844-472-8499. Thank you all. That concludes today's webinar, and I hope you all have a great day.
Thanks, everybody. Take care.